It will work out. It's like one of my kids is moving back in. Amsterdam housing problems, I think. No. But one of my other kids is inviting friends over to come and stay with her. So that's why one needs to move back. And I like that. I like that we, as a family, take care of each other, and that if you look for a place that actually we can do that and then have people work together, living together. Now, not last sermon also I could put in practice today and yesterday, but also the sermon before, which I was not present, but Kyle did that one. And he said, you need to know the background of the story that is there in the Bible. And I can
There's a kid with ambition, a mission to roam. Said, Father, give me what's mine, I'm done with this home. I want the cash to stash my inheritance. I'm tired of your rules, I'm chasing relevance. Pack his bags, hit the road, no goodbye. Living large, big city, throwing cash in the sky. While living in parties till the money ran dry. And the friends that he bought said, who needs this guy? Now he's stuck in the mud, feeding pigs in the dirt. His stomach's growling and his pride starts to hurt. Thinking back to his dad and the life of before. He's broken alone, but he knows there's more. Run back home, no matter where you've been. The Father's arms are open wide to let you in. Love so deep, it'll cover every sin. Run back home, come on, run back home. He's rehearsing his lines, yeah, he's plotting his plea. Father, I messed up, don't deserve to be free. Treat me like a servant, just give me a place. I'll work to earn my keep if you'll show me some grace. But the father's on the porch looking out every day, hoping his son will come walking his way. And when he spots that shadow way down the road, he sprints to his boy, man, his love just explodes. Bring the robe, bring the ring, bring the sandals, the feast. My son was dead, now he's back, let the joy be released. Cook the calf, light the fire, let the music begin. My son is home, he's alive, let him in. Run back home, no matter where you've been. The Father's arms are open wide to let you in. Love so deep, it'll cover every sin. Run back home, come on, run back home. Meanwhile, the older son's out in the field. He hears the party and can't believe it's real. I stayed by your side, Dad, worked hard night and day. And this reckless son of yours gets a party this way. But the father replies, son, you've always been mine. Everything I have is yours, it's been here all the time. But this moment's about grace, redemption, and life. Your brothers come back and I'm ending the strife. Run back home, no matter where.
11 to 13, it says the following. Jesus continued, there was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me my share of the estate. So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. Now, what is actually happening here? There's something unusually happening, actually. The younger son asks for his share of the inheritance right now, which is strange. Usually you get it when your father is deceased and not when he's still living. But it's his share of the inheritance. That also means that's all you get, because it's your share. And here's your share, and you can take care of that. We will go, when we end the story, we will see what the consequences also are, because the father refers to that later, to the older son. It's strange, but he gets his share, and that's done. So then my question would be, that happened, but if I was the father, what would I do? I would first try and talk him out of it. Definitely. Is that a good idea, son? Definitely, I would say that. And probably, being Dutch, we would end up somewhere in a compromise, It's not black and white, it's somewhere in the gray, and we would have something. Typically Dutch. What could I do as a father? It's the third question. What could I do? I could just pray to God, and I would probably pray to God to have his eyes opened, see what he is doing, that he's like, get a bit smarter, like this is not the way you should go. At the same time, I will be a bit hesitant because I don't want to please my son. I want to help him grow. So ask God to give him insight or do something else to get him insight. But then the fourth question is, what can God actually do? And do I believe what God can do? Now, I would probably have a hard time, and I would be praying a lot to really believe that even if my son wants to go ahead and wants to have his share of the inheritance, and he gets it, even then, trusting God that through that, he will be able to work. But it would not be really easy, because in my mind there is a better solution. But that's the thing. Do I trust God, even if I think I have a better solution, that he has the best solution? So I might think having a better solution, but in the end, God has the best solution. Do I really believe that? So that's the first part. Struggle for me as a dad. And the son that gets the inheritance, as you see here, is really excited because now he can go into the world and do all the things by himself. So let's go to verses 14 to 16. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of the country who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. Now, what happens? Again, hard times hit, The son had to learn by experience how to deal with the unexpected situation. You ran out of money, there was a famine in the country, so there was nothing that... It was not easy living anymore. So he had to go through that experience. Now, what would I do as a father? I would hate to have see my son go through this. So my natural tendency would be to help him out, give him some more money, so that he could kind of keep comfortable. But my children know I'm not always doing that. My children know that. They have to experience sometimes things themselves. And it's really hard because as a father you want to give them all the best. But sometimes it's better for them to go through the experience and then know what is really happening. And there is not always this safety net for mom and dad. Sorry guys, sometimes it's a hard time. But then what would I do? I would definitely go, and I do that. I go in prayer and I'll ask God to help them, protect them, and give them opportunities. But it's difficult because at the same time I need to ask him to hold back to your siblings, to your children, which is really a strange feeling because you love them so much. But the fight within my heart is between giving them an easy thing or helping them actually for the future for the whole time, because one time I will not be there anymore. So then the safety net is not there anymore. They need to be able to stand their own ground and make their own decisions. So it's sometimes difficult, really difficult in my heart. So that I definitely need prayer for that. And then the fourth thing is, even in these times, can I still believe God is working for the better? Sometimes that's hard. I have 4 great children. All 4 are different. All have their own way of going somewhere. And for everyone, I have to have the same faith that it will work. And sometimes it's easier because they're very obedient, or they do very well, very disciplined. And sometimes, no way, they're completely different in that way. All 4 of them are different. And so are children, they are different. And so are you as a family, we are different. We make different choices. We are not all even obedient. We are not all even easygoing. We take our own decisions. But can we still trust God to work through every situation? So that's a hard thing. But what I do believe is God works in every heart. And God knows each of us more than I would know each of you. So God knows what you need. And He will bring it up. Maybe even 2 times, or 3 times, or 4 times, or give you another opportunity to experience something so you can learn. God knows, still knows what is best. Let's go to the third part. Luke 15 and then 17 to 20. When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare? And here I am starving to death. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' So he got up and he went to his father." So what happened here? He started realizing that where he was not so bad an environment. It was even very friendly. And he probably would have been better off if he stayed. But the big thing for him is he realized it. And that is something that we sometimes need. This really deep realization in our hearts. What should we change? Why should we change? Or what should we do? But then it's our own conviction. And that is what I hope I can also install as a father, if I'm busy with my children, is I still pray and hope that they will come to their own realization, because then it's something that's in their hearts. It's not something that I put in there and say, like, you need to act like this, because then it's acting because of me wanting to see something. No, I want them to realize, I want their heart changed. And that's what I really like to see. So I like sometimes to have these conversations with my kids, even if they do things differently than I would do them. But I want to know and understand what's in your heart. And then see and ask questions about that. What is it in your heart? difficult sometimes, especially in times when you feel a bit pressured, you need to go somewhere, or you feel a bit pressure under there, like just do what I tell you. No. Can I just take a step back and even then be a bit more calm? Of course, when you have little children, you do it in a different way. If you have older children, you do it in another way. I think the conversation at our dinner table, Saskia, have changed in the past 20 years. Now we have discussions and talks, which are really good. And 20 years ago, it was more like sit still, eat your dinner, stuff like that. Yeah. Femke already confirms to me. Mm-hmm. So of course, there's differences, but it's still about the heart. Even if they are small, little, if you can touch their hearts and they make a heart change, then it's for a much bigger change. If this would happen like what happened here, that the son realizes that he wanted to go home, I would be so thankful to God. I would be definitely praying and thanking him for giving this vision or this heart change of heart. And what I see God doing, this is what is God doing, can he do even more? I see this change of heart. And that's great. That's like something you would hope for. But if you see it actually happening, then it should actually confirm your faith in God even more, because it's actually happening. And sometimes, can we see if something changes, if somebody you know, or within your family or whatever, makes a change of heart? Can you see God in there? Or do you think, now it's because of this, and this, and he said that, and she said that, now they are different? No, because the difference is in the heart. And I can do a lot maybe, and Saskia can also do a lot, but we cannot change hearts. It's not like I plug in a new battery and now it works better. That doesn't work, but the one who can do that is God. And I'm looking for those moments to get the confirmation from, see, God can change. God can change someone. God has the power to do that. Let's go to the next one, next part, 20 to 24. So the son is running home, run back home, where he started with. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him and kissed him. The son said to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father said to his servants, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead, and he is alive again. He was lost, and he is found." So he began to celebrate. So the great thing is the son returned. That's what we see here. His father has extreme joy. Saskia, remember that if Tom comes over this week, that we also have the... I just realized he's coming home this week. There should be a party or something. I don't know. It's like the Bible says so. Fattened calf. Now, luckily, we have a pasture just around the corner. Look if there is a calf. I think it would be a bit different. Okay. What would I react as a father? I would have the same feeling. If my son went astray or whatever and comes back with his changed heart, I would exactly have the same feeling. I had those feelings also when my children, some of them were baptized. That felt like coming home. So, still praying, still hoping that not more and more will also come to God and come home. What I do pray for in those situations, also when Tom comes home now. I'm sorry, this guy, he needs to take in a lot already. But what I do need to pray for is unconditional love. This is really one of the most difficult things. By nature, I can be very critical. So I would normally think like, this is the best thing to do, and why doesn't somebody else do this? Unconditional love is completely the opposite. It's still loving in spite of somebody not doing what you would like them to do. So I definitely need to pray for that, because I need God's help with that. And I also need to give it to God, like let Him do His work. And the great thing about this is, do I trust God? If something happens like this, somebody is running back to home, and you can close your arms around him, that's more of just confirmation of God, like changing hearts and really being with people and really being able to change. That's what I like. Oh, wow. How often do I get those moments? Sometimes they just go by and they're like, hey, that's great, because it's in the cause of things that are running, but I don't realize this is the moment God blesses you. This is the moment that God really shows, like, you can trust me. Do I see those things still? Yeah. Then the next one is 25 to 30, still in Luke 15. Meanwhile, the older son, oh, he's still there, the older son, was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of his servants and asked him what was going on. Now, this is a bit strange to me. Because if I go to my house and I hear some celebrations and festivities going on, I'm like, I want to go there. I want to know what's going on. No, he sends a servant to find out what is going on. I'm like, hey, it's your house. Why won't you go there? Why would you first send someone? But okay, that's just something that still a question to me. So he called one of the servants and asked what was going on. Your brother has come, he replied. And your father has killed the fattened calf because of him back, for he has him back safe and sound. The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your order. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes and comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. So what happens here? The older son was really emotional and angry. He expected punishment for the returning son and more rewards and praise for himself. And that's very real. Most of us, including me, would expect the same thing. Somebody did something bad. If he comes back, he needs to hear that. And he needs to put in place. And the one that is always compliant should get more praise. I don't know. I think it's a normal reaction I would also have. Of course, I have seen the same thing with my kids. And I have answered those questions to one of my kids also. They would definitely ask these questions. Like, is it like I'm always compliant. I'm always doing the right thing. So why does nobody praise me for that? You give so much attention to the one that is wandering off or needs some stern talk, and then you celebrate with him if something happens, if something goes right. And sometimes we just need to realize that. And I feel, as a father, I feel blessed that my children are able to come to me and talk about it. Because then they're talking about what they really feel. And sometimes I do things, I don't realize that they have this impact on you or my children in this case. But I'm really glad that they dare to come up to me and talk about it, how they feel. So, yeah, I really hope that we can do that also here in the church. We can have the same emotions. We can sometimes find like, but I'm doing everything right. Why is the one that is doing so many things wrong? Why is he given so, or she's given so much praise and help? And just talk about it. Talk about your feelings, because that's really what matters. That's what's going on inside your heart. Don't leave it there. I was thinking about it, like blaming others for not helping our physical family, or blaming the church for how it put expectations on you. How is that different from the expectations that this older brother had? So, how are we towards each other? Because we can say that. I've heard that say. Like, the church expects me to do this. Really? Is it different from what this older brother is saying? And I don't think so. I don't think the church does expect anything from you. I do think that we might have the feeling that we need to perform perfectly because we're in the church, or because whatever. But we aren't. We are just humans. We are all the same in that sense. And we can all react as this older brother, but we can also all react as the father. So what do we choose? What do I choose? So what I already told you, I learned this with all the children getting older, because they would open up more and they could express more what they really were feeling and thinking. And I see my role has changed from protecting them from, well, not going into dangerous situation without knowledge because they were small, going to more being a kind of, guiding them, asking questions, and then helping, getting input from me. And then the expectations is different, because if they're small and they're running towards a pond or a lake or anything like that, you're like, oh, you cannot swim yet. Please come back, and you hold them back. When they're older, they can swim and they can. Well, maybe it's not very good for you to go into very icy water and trying to swim right now. And then normally they would like, maybe. Or they would know because they have prepared for it. I don't know. But there's a different... I'm not holding them back anymore. If I could hold them back anyhow. Yeah. Last week I saw how big they actually are. I was behind two of my guys. I couldn't see the surface. So I'm like, okay. So all the ones that feel like smaller than I am, I know now how you feel in the service if I'm in front. I finally know, because I had two of these, like, what wall is now in front of me? But so I probably couldn't hold them back anymore. When they were little, I could, I can't. Then, what can I do to ask God? I can just pray. That's the only thing I can do. God can help. I can only pray for God to open their eyes and help them. It's the same thing with the older son. He can be mad, he can be angry, but the only thing I can do is like, please God, help him to see what he is missing out on now, what is happening, and why I am so happy as a father that he returns. And he could be joining that, or he could be constantly shutting it outside, like not joining in there in the celebration. And I strongly believe that only God can change the heart. I can do anything to help God with that and tell things, but in the end, it's God who changes the heart. So, final part. It's the verse 31 and 32. My son, the father said, you are always with me. He's talking to the older son. And everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and he's alive again. He was lost and he is found. So that's what the father is telling the older son. Now what is happening here? The father actually tells him, like, son, everything we have here is yours. Referring to the fact that this younger son already got his share of the inheritance. Everything here is now for you because you stayed, your part is still here, and it's only, we are taking care of it, but it's yours. It's already in there. So the younger son, although the father is really glad that he's there, that they celebrate that he's back, he needs to build his own life again. And they will help him with that, but he doesn't get a share anymore because he already had it. Now, if I was in this situation, one of my children would come back and I would be very tempted to equally handle all of them again, although he even had the inheritance already. I would be, because that's how we do with this these days. It's like everybody needs to be equal. But we are not. Even God gives us different gifts, so we're not equal. But even in this situation, the equality already was there, and it's still there. Only one son chose to do this with it, and the other son chose to do that. And now it's not like, okay, we're starting all over again. No, things that have consequences, and you bear the consequences. So what would I need? I would definitely need as a father to pray for that. On the one hand, being very loving to the son that returned. On the other hand, being very fair to all of the sons or children or you have, because there was already an inheritance, which is difficult as a father because you want to have them all the same. And then the final thing that's really difficult then is like if you see a reaction like that, if you see a reaction from the older son, if you see a reaction around you, do you still believe that God can work in the hearts of the older son? I think he can. At the same time, I know I need prayer, I need reading my Bible, I need to really get there. It's not that my heart is easily there.
I walked a road so far away, chasing dreams that fade to gray. I left behind what I didn't see, the love that waited patiently. I spent my days in a world of shame, but deep inside I heard your name, calling me back to where I belong, to the arms that held me all along. come home again. The Father's waiting with open arms, no hesitating. Lost and found, He calls me friend. In His love I'll come home again. Come home again. The past is gone. Grace has found me, and where I belong. In His love that has no end, I'm coming home again. I thought I'd find myself out there, in the empty skies, in the empty air. But nothing filled the hole inside, till I turned around and saw the light. You ran to me before I could speak. You lifted me when I was weak. No words were needed, just your embrace, your mercy shining on my face. Come home again. The Father's waiting with open arms, no hesitating. Lost and found, He calls me friend. In His love I'll come home again. Come home again. The past is gone. Grace has found me, and where I belong. In His love that has no end, I'm coming home again. When I was lost, You still were near. Your voice whispered, I'm always here. No matter how far I may roam, in Your heart I have a home. Come home again. The Father's waiting with open arms, no hesitating. Lost and found, He calls me friend. In His love I'll come home again. Come home again. The past is gone. Grace has found me, and where I belong. In His love that has no end, I'm coming home again. I'm coming home again. In Your love I'll come home again.